John, hey, congratulations for your new film, Dangerous Waters.
Thanks, Gig. How are you?
It is terrific. It is terrific. I love how you actually handled it. It almost felt like two different movies because it was like a survival story and then it becomes an action towards the end, but it
Yeah,
you still kept on with that theme of survival, and that's the most important part of
absolutely.
the
Yeah.
film. So, John, we have to ask is what sparked you to write the story for Dangerous Waters?
Yeah. I think it's personal. Like, I had written a script prior to Dangerous Waters, same premise, virtually. And the protagonist was a boy, and it was kind of like through my eyes, how I grew up as a kid and being on the water. And, I have an incredibly adventurous spirit, and I love being put in challenging situations. And um so I think it mostly stemmed from that, and then obviously evolved into the action, bits that you've seen. But when I rewrote it, with Mark Jackson, I wanted I have a lot of really powerful women in my life, and I wanted the protagonist to be female, and I think Odeya, the Rose character, she's incredible, super believable, and it was the right call for sure.
Well, most excellent. Now, I know you said you've been around water for some time and all this, and you're familiar with it, but filming out at sea, that's a challenge by itself. That's why we don't have many of these type of movies. Can you talk about your approach on overcoming these challenges out there on the water?
Absolutely. And you're right, and I think that's probably why I did it. Again, like going back to how I love to be challenged, like, and failure is really not an option ever, So it's like you embark on these adventures, and you just, yeah, just you can't fail. So you gotta make it happen. I think um prep obviously was huge. We had the sailboat weeks prior to filming, so we would, go out in the water and kind of plot where we were going to shoot everything, how we were going to shoot it. um Kept it very simple, handheld cameras mostly on the ship, so we could move quickly around. Carefully placed drone shots, so it could, maintain the scale and the scope of being out at sea. um yeah, I just think preparation is essential for sure, and having the right, support, marine team, all of those elements as well.
So did you have two different how can you say camera work when it comes to the sailboat and to the cargo ship? Because in
Hmm.
in in both cases I find I feel like the tightness could have been an extreme challenge of filming, especially the maneuvering with your cast and moving the cameras around.
Definitely. Well, we shot on the Sony Venice, which is an amazing camera, and they have this mode. It's called Rialto mode, where it's like you actually separate the sensor, and it's like this very, very tiny body with a lens. It's very compact, and you can park the bigger end of the body somewhere else 20 feet away from you, and you can just be very close and intimate with everybody. And you're right, on the sailboat we didn't build any of that. That was all practical. So, you know incredibly tight quarters and tight spaces, and choreographing with the actors to move around was tricky, but it was important to do. And that's, again, going back to preparation and knowing kind of how you want the scene to play out, and where the camera will be, and where the light will come from, and all of those elements. Like, if you can figure those out ahead of time, then you're ahead of the game.
So was it a relief when you have to film on the island itself? Could you tell us more about that island that you actually? It's beautiful. It's one of
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, that beach was unbelievable. And yes, it was a relief when we could finally, although we didn't shoot in sequence, we had to go back to the boat again after the beach, which was fine, but like, it would have been great to just be off the boat and done with it. But Yeah, I mean the beach was gorgeous. You know, it was super beautiful. It was in Samana, which is in the north of the Dominican Republic. Super remote. Um, and yeah, I mean it was stunning to shoot there. We did the all of that beach stuff, all of through the jungle, the fire scene. All of those bits took place there. So it was amazing. Yeah.
Now you say you didn't shoot it in sequence. I mean that wouldn't the smart thing is just to like let's do the sailboat, let's do the island, and then let's do the cargo ship and be done with it. But you had to go back and forth on a lot of these cases.
Well, chuck in actor schedule and availability, and it's like throwing everything into a washing machine, really. So yeah, there were a lot of, and the condensed schedule, we shot for 28 days, so I think there were a lot of puzzle pieces to put together, we'll put it that way. But it all worked out, so that's the only thing that matters, really.
Now tell us about the Odeya, being the main lead actress in your film. She's young, she's up and coming. Well, I mean, I followed her career since she was very young, but
Yeah.
she's a very good actress, and you put her I want to not to say it, but in dangerous situations in a film like
Nice. Well put.
so tell her about working with her.
Yeah, I mean she's a movie star. I think she's very incredibly talented, like beyond. Like I've worked with, not just as a director, but worked on many movies where there's incredible actors, and she's at the top of the list, and I think she's gonna have a great career. We with the budget this size and the schedule we had, I wasn't really able to audition her. It was definitely an offer. And when you go into these situations, you watch her previous work, of course, and you know how talented she is. But like when you get into a situation that becomes physical, and it's on the water, to your point, and there are a lot of challenges that you have to overcome outside of just being on a soundstage or on a location on land. She every day she surprised me, how incredible she was, and professional, and yeah, I hope to work with her again for sure.
So, so to get like Eric Dane to compliment her on this project, how important was the chemistry? I mean, especially for someone like Eric who we're guessing what we are trying to expect with Eric here.
Yeah, for sure. I think again, like without having them in a room together prior to shooting, you never really know how the chemistry is going to be. I think um, I really felt Eric's performance in Euphoria is beyond amazing, and I felt like that's what inspired me to want to get him for this movie, because I feel like there's so much hidden in the depths of who Eric's character is. I feel like he was the guy that could slowly transform throughout the movie into what he becomes, and he does it. Like he's amazing to watch, I think. Yeah.
Now with I do have to credit to your your production director, that there is some carefully crafted designs, what you guys did with the boats, especially with the fire. Could you talk about that? I mean, of course, you didn't destroy your own boats.
Well, we did actually. We bought once. So this was the conversation in prep with Alan Petherick, who was the production designer, and he did an incredible job. Was do we buy two boats so we can trash one and keep one normal? Because we had to, believe it or not, we had to jump back and forth between burn boat and non-burn boat because of actor schedule. So Alan, I believe he had to do it once. He had to flip it from burnt back to normal and then back to burnt again. So yeah, incredible challenge. But we did a bunch of tests in prep and figured out what the quickest, easiest way to do it would be, and he nailed it. He did a great job.
Well, that it would have fooled me. I wasn't sure if you actually had to damage any boats or just did a lot of creative decorating.
Yeah, I mean it's both, yeah, for sure. But the boat was we didn't destroy it completely. So like when the film was finished, we were able to put it back together, and it's still floating at the moment.
Mo- Most excellent.
Yeah.
For you, John, I know I completely understand how challenging it is for Dangerous Waters to direct because each act felt like its own different type of movie and its own different style. How do you switch yourself in and the mindset in filming, especially into the third act, which almost feels like like an act, like a action sequence?
Hmm. I mean, it's a great question. I think I've lived with the story for so long. I kind of just always imagined it how it plays out. I think I think there's action and there's elements throughout the whole story, like finally like cascading with on the ship with everything that happens there. So yeah, I think just maintaining a taste of the action throughout the whole story is important, and keeping people engaged, with that as an element. I think, again, going back to Odeya, like if she wasn't as charismatic on screen and as great of an actress as she is, like the film wouldn't be what it is. She carries it. So the script can only and the action elements can only get you so far. It has to be performed well and be believable. And I think she does all of it.
Yeah, that is very true. And so with all the challenges on a film production like this, what was your greatest challenge that you had overcome and how you did it?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think the greatest challenge, obviously was Ray's passing. It was unfortunate, and it was so sad and awful in so many ways. And when that happens so close to finishing the film, you ask yourself a lot of questions. Can we finish the thing? Will you can never replace a Ray Liotta. Like there's just no way to do that because he's so unbelievable. So it was just kind of figuring out what we were going to do, and we went down the face replacement route. We shot the remainder of the film with his stunt double, who did a great job. But ultimately the technology wasn't quite there for what we needed. So all of us wanted to keep that scene that Ray has in the film because it is amazing. And um, with a little bit of rewriting, for the end, we were able to do it, and everybody's thankful.
Can you tell us what what was the missing scene that Ray was supposed to include into this film that you were planning for?
Yeah, I mean, I won't get specific, but he basically carried the whole from when they meet to the end of the film. He basically, he and the Rose character basically have the cat and mouse, so to speak, to the end, to the end of the film. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, his untimely passing what was a shame, but I'm glad that you actually overcome him and you got to work with him, which is also a big
I
bonus.
mean, it was something that I'll never forget, obviously. Like he's a legend, right? I mean, he's a global icon, and he's arguably had one of the best performances in cinema history, right? With Henry Hill. So yeah, I mean, it was an honor and a privilege for sure.
Most excellent. And so
Yeah.
what's up next with you, John? Are you still staying in on the water?
There it's funny you say that. No, we're going to be land based on the next one. Yeah, we're starting to put together, the script's already written. We're starting to once the SAG strike ends, hopefully we can start casting this thing before the end of the year, and yeah, hope to shoot next year. So
Most excellent. Well,
yeah,
John, thank you very much for this conversation. Once again, congratulations, and thank you for talking to us about dangerous waters. Thank you.
yeah, it's great to meet you. Have a good day.